Let's talk about the Leaving MAGA movement because I keep seeing these videos on my For You page and I don't know how to feel about it truly. I mean, a part of me is like, dang, you really never read a book? But then a part of me is like, that's ultimately the goal, you know? You want for people to wake up and they waking up and want for those people to right their wrongs and help others. Help a lot of others because there's a lot of others that you need to help. But the Leave MAGA movement is like they're making these videos looking for sympathy, and that I cannot participate in. I can't participate in the sympathy act because y'all jumped on the bandwagon. Y'all believed blindly in foolishness. And now you looking for sympathy from the people who was trying to tell y'all this all along? Y'all believing they rhetoric blindly? And now some of y'all are second guessing it because of Renee Good. You ain't gonna get sympathy. That's not what you gonna get from me. What you gonna get from me is help your neighbor.
Exactly. You ain't gonna get sympathy from me because these folks didn't just vote wrong. They were cruel about it. They mocked, they laughed, they called people snowflakes for caring about human rights. And now they want understanding? Now they want a hug? Nah, that's not how accountability works. You don't get to skip the apology tour just because reality finally hit you. You don't get to bypass the part where you acknowledge the harm just because you're uncomfortable now. Sit in that discomfort, learn from it, and then maybe we can talk.
I have tried very hard to stay open-minded and allow people to do what they want to do. But you know what? I'm sorry, no. I'm done with that. If you vote on the economy, if you vote for Trump because you think the economy is going to be better, you are literally choosing to have, a couple $1,000s maybe back in your pocket when women are literally dying because of the choices that he made. Not to mention how many people died during COVID because he didn't believe anybody and we literally had to rely on Dr. Fauci. Women are dying and they're gonna continue to die. And if you don't care because you don't know those women or they're in a different state, then you honestly should reevaluate your life. This is actually causing me true anxiety and insomnia.
This hits hard. Women are dying, and you chose a couple $1,000s. That's the trade. That's what happened. You voted for cheaper gas. Women lost bodily autonomy. You voted for tax cuts. Healthcare protections vanished. And some people say, well, I didn't think it would go this far. But did you not listen? This is the cost of willful ignorance. And the bill? Being paid in women's lives. So if you voted for the economy, just say you valued your wallet more than someone else's uterus. At least be honest.
I'm happy to hear about the account called Leaving MAGA. And if that is you, welcome to seeing the truth and seeing the light. It is a happy place. It is a sad place because you realize Trump's just not it for you anymore. And you can't back him and support him anymore. And it's a tough road fighting him as well. But we are grateful that you are joining the fight. So even though people are gonna say, well, whatever it is, I don't care your reason. I don't. I'm happy that you're joining in on the fight against it because we need to be united as the United States of America. And he's doing some shady stuff. So welcome.
Now this is the mature take. I don't care your reason. I'm happy you're joining the fight. And you know what? That's right. Because we need unity. We need people to wake up and actually fight. But here's the thing. Unity doesn't mean erasing what happened. It means acknowledging it, learning from it, and moving forward. So yeah, welcome. But don't expect a parade. Expect work. Expect to educate your friends who are still stuck. Expect to use your story to pull others out. Because if you're just here to feel better, not enough. If you're here to help undo the damage, now we're talking.
I'm a conservative and I regret voting for Donald Trump. He is not delivering on the promises that I was expecting. Tell myself I will be open and honest about what is going on, even if it's someone I support. If they're doing something wrong, you need to call them out. That being said, here's why I regret my vote for Trump. To start, just yesterday, he bans men from competing against women in their sports, and I think that kind of takes the fun out of it. I mean, why wouldn't we want to watch these men blow the women out of the water? It was kind of entertaining. Next up is all these ICE raids happening. I mean, I don't really care if these people are wanted for murder or have committed really bad crimes. No one is illegal. Everyone should be able to just come in here and do whatever they want. Isn't that common sense? Don't even get me started about Elon Musk. Cutting what they call wasteful spending, but I mean, if we take a look at what's being cut, I think it was pretty necessary. For example, they discovered that $32,000 was being used to fund a transgender comic book in Peru. If it were me, I'd be spending $32 million on that. That seems like a priority. Hopefully by now you guys know this is Satire. The Trump administration this time around is doing amazing things, probably getting more done than Biden was able to do in his 4 years in office. I'm Team Trump all the way. Every single day is more and more winning. What do you guys think? Leave a comment down below and make sure to follow for more political updates.
Okay, that was satire. But it works because it sounds exactly like what they actually say. Banning trans comic books is wasteful. Meanwhile, billions in tax cuts for billionaires. But sure, let's focus on $32,000. This is the playbook. Distract with culture war nonsense while the real money flows upward. Keep people mad about Dr. Seuss, while programs that actually help get gutted, and it works every single time. So if you're leaving, understand this, you were played. The propaganda machine is that good. It preys on fear, anger, the need to belong, but now you know. Don't fall for it again.
If you are ready to be a part of a political movement and do something about the Trump regime, I need you to be a part of this. On January 20th at 2 p.m., no matter what time zone you are in, we are all walking out of wherever we are, at school, at home, at work, no matter what. We are walking out and we are going to our local congressional buildings and we are demanding change. We are demanding impeachment for the entire administration. If you want to know where groups are getting organized on this, it'll be on Mobilize.us, where you can find events in your area. Otherwise, you can just look up your local congressional building and be there. We have to use our working power and our pockets to shut this administration down. If we can remind them that we hold the power, then we can make big waves in taking this country back. Even if this doesn't get the administration out of office, this is an even bigger step towards that and getting organized. Spread the word about this. January 20th, 2 p.m., no matter where you are. We're walking out of work, school, everything.
Okay, this is for my sisters. Why are you going over there? Why are you going on the leaving MAGA side of TikTok? I don't care, and God forgive me, I don't care though if Jesus Christ came and looked me in the eye and said, Nikki, forgive the MAGA folks. There is no way in hell that I would ever forgive any one of those people.
I get this rage. I get the exhaustion. I get being done. But here's the thing. Holding on to that anger only hurts you, not them. Now, does that mean you have to forgive? No. Be friends? Absolutely not. Boundaries are healthy. But if someone genuinely wakes up, genuinely tries to make amends, genuinely works to undo the harm, shutting them out completely just makes it worse. Because we need defectors. And if the message is, even if you change, we'll never accept you, why would they bother? Protect your peace. But don't close the door entirely. Change is messy and sometimes worth it.
Why are you going over there listening to their trauma and their grief and them crying about not having family or talking and friends have left them and the stages their parents taught them to lose empathy, all of that bullshit rigmarole that they're hiding behind? Do you think that if things went in the other direction that they would be leaving MAGA? No. Because people are who they are. Yes, people can change, but people don't change overnight. So sis, stop going over there. Black women, stop going over on the MAGA side of TikTok. Why the hell do you care when we are the #1 group unemployed right now? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Those folks across the street that I used to have coffee with every day for 8 years that voted for him, I haven't talked to them in a year. And I have no plans on ever talking to them. Stop going over to that side of TikTok, because all it's going to do is raise your blood pressure and get you even more angry listening to all of the excuses and the bullshit that they hide behind. Because deep down, if anything worked in their favor, they would stab you in the back tomorrow. You know what I would rather do before listening to a person that left MAGA and all their excuses? I would rather watch paint dry. I would rather sit on a plane next to a baby crying for a 2-hour flight. I would rather have menstrual cramps until the day I die. I would rather go through labor again. Well, I don't know about that, but stop going over there.
I do blame Donald Trump for the violence that happened on January 6th. My name is Dale. I live in Ohio, and I'm a former Trump voter. Donald Trump is so disrespectful to people who have served our country. The disrespect to John McCain, the disrespect to soldiers who gave their lives, who are buried at Arlington Cemetery. It's just so frustrating and disheartening. I do blame Donald Trump for the violence that happened on January 6th. The bottom line is he got everybody fired up. He knew that there were people that had weapons because he said, ditch the magnetometers. He realized violence could very well happen and sat and watched it for several hours on TV. Trump has called for termination of the Constitution. I think it was December 4th, 2022, said that a massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. How can we have a president like that? I plan on voting for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. The more I listen to her, I think Kamala Harris speaks very well. I think she has a good knowledge of what the issues are. We may not agree on solutions to the issues, but she seems like she can work people.
This is what real reflection looks like. Dale's not making excuses. He's not blaming others. He's saying, I was wrong. I see it now. I'm changing. That's growth. That's what we want. Notice what changed his mind? Not the economy, not gas prices, but character. Respect for the military, the Constitution, the violence on January 6th. These are principles. When people vote based on principles instead of party loyalty, that's when real change happens. So to the Dales out there, thank you. You didn't have to speak up publicly, but you did. And that takes courage. Now bring your friends.
It's crazy because my parents taught me to be outspoken. They raised me to be a strong woman, to stand my ground, to speak out, to do this, to never let anyone get you, in a corner, blah, blah, blah. Always fight back. But I know it never occurred to them that it would be me standing my ground and fighting back against them. That had never occurred to them. So it's you made me who I was today. You just didn't think I was going to flip on you. And I have. The question that I keep getting asked over and over again is if me and that girl are still friends. We're not friends. We just, this happened when we were kids. We're in our 30s now. She moved to a different state and we didn't stop being friends because of that. We were still really close friends, but then eventually she moved away and then that's just how it happened. But I did make sure to let her know how big of a part she was in my life because she literally changed the whole direction that my life was heading in. Another question I keep getting asked is, out of everything you learned when you did your deep dive, what was the craziest thing? All of it. I literally cannot pick. Everything. We weren't being taught that stuff in school. Absolutely we're not. We were being taught about Black history, like I said, 5 days out of a whole year. It's the fact that Black people are being turned into furniture, bait, they were being eaten, raped, and forced to have their master's kids because it was cheaper than buying them. They had torture chambers, sundown towns. I think it's very suspicious that federal maximum prisons were created around the same time that slavery was ending. There was other forms of jail still at the time, going way back before then, but they were for smaller amounts of people. And so then they created these big federal maximum security prisons around the same time slavery was ending. The more I learned, the more shame I would feel. But I am really happy that I chose this path. My whole family just thinks I'm bonkers crazy, that I'm brainwashed. When I challenge them, still till this day, when I challenge them, I will be like, when was this? When was this? Who was this? Who did this? When did this happen? And they're like, and I'm like, right, exactly. You have no idea what you're talking about. You're just talking. Like you're the loudest mouth in here with nothing in your head. Because in my mind, I don't want to give up on them. I want them to just do what I did. Like I want them to have an awakening moment, like maybe one day. Something I say to them, it'll click. You know, I had that moment where it clicked for me. Why can't they have that moment? Maybe I just have to keep going. Maybe I have to keep telling them things. I just don't want to give up. Even if I could get like one of them, if I could just get one of them to have a click moment in my family, I don't know.
God, this breaks my heart. Families torn apart, friendships destroyed, and she's still trying. Still hoping that if she just says the right thing, they'll wake up. But here's the truth. You can't force someone to see the light. You can plant seeds, but they have to water them. And sometimes they won't. And that's not your failure. It's theirs. So if you're in this, keep speaking truth. Keep being the example, but don't sacrifice your mental health trying to save people who don't want saving. Live your truth so loudly, it becomes undeniable. If they come around, great. If not, you still did right.
Really appreciate everyone on that video saying like, you're my family now. You can come with me. You can blah, blah, blah. I freaking love you guys. I'm just so happy that I ended up on the side that I am, and I'll do everything in my power to keep bringing people over to my side, because it was so impactful for a Black person to be like, why would you say that? That was so wrong. I'm going to explain it. And I hope that it is equally impactful when a white person says it to another white person. I'm going to just keep going. I'm going to keep running my mouth till the day I die.
So we know that a lot of people who voted for Trump did so simply because he promised to bring down prices, right? He said he was going to make America affordable again, also bring back manufacturing jobs. He has now been in office for almost exactly a year. How did he do? The answer is that he failed on every single economic promise that he made. The numbers are devastating. So let's start with jobs. In all of 2025, we now know that only 584,000 jobs were created by Trump. For context, in 2024, Biden's last year, over 2 million jobs were created. P.S. We need about 1.8 million jobs created per year just to keep up with population growth. So again, Trump added 584,000 last year. This is actually the worst job growth in over 2 decades.
Let's talk numbers. 584,000 jobs created in 2025. Compare that to 2 million the year before. We need 1.8 million just to keep up with population growth. So this wasn't underperformance. This was failure, objectively. Manufacturing, 8 straight months of losses. Tariffs, costing families $100 a year. Energy prices, up, not down. Inflation, unchanged. But here's the kicker, calling it a hoax. Gaslighting people when their grocery bills say otherwise. This is what voters need to understand. You were sold a lie. The great businessman couldn't deliver. The deal maker made terrible deals. The working class champion gave tax cuts to billionaires while you got crumbs. The data doesn't lie, even if politicians do.
It is worse than anything except the Great Recession and COVID. There's more. Remember those manufacturing jobs that Trump promised would come roaring back? The December report showed the 8th consecutive month of manufacturing job losses. 8 months in a row, starting, by the way, exactly when his tariffs went into effect. Speaking of tariffs, Trump said other countries would pay for them, so let's look at that promise. Turns out 94% of the cost hit American companies and consumers. The Tax Foundation estimates tariffs cost each household about $1,100 in 2025. Meanwhile, Trump's trade war produced retaliation from other countries, especially China, which closed off markets for American farmers. So now taxpayers are bailing out farmers again because of Trump's policies. And what about prices? Anybody who goes grocery shopping knows that Trump promised to bring them down immediately and did not. He also said he would cut energy prices in half within 12 months. Instead, they're up dramatically. And inflation has been basically unchanged since he took office. So what is Trump's response now that none of his promises came true? He started making up numbers and calling affordability concerns a hoax and a con job by the Democrats. Meanwhile, workers are getting the smallest share of GDP in the form of wages since data collection began in 1947, the smallest slice of the economic pie in recorded history. This is the whole Trump presidency in a nutshell. big promises for working people that aren't fulfilled, then gaslighting when the promises for working people don't come true. Meanwhile, Trump and his very, very wealthy donors are laughing all the way to the bank because all of his policies are meant to help them. Trump's billionaire donors, they are making out like bandits from all of his tax cuts. So as we head into year 2, remember these numbers, they will get worse. Remember what was promised versus what was delivered. Remember that every Republican in Congress is just as responsible for this as Trump is. Trump is going to keep telling you that everything is great. He can't do anything else. But you and I have the receipts. Keep them. And the next time someone says Trump's good on the economy, make sure you whip those things out.
Yes, keep the receipts. Because in a few years, people will try to rewrite history. It wasn't that bad. We didn't know. Both sides. And that's when you pull out the numbers. The job reports, the tariff costs, the broken promises. This isn't petty. This is accountability. This is making sure we don't repeat the same mistakes. Save the screenshots. Bookmark the articles. Remember the receipts. Next time someone says the economy was good, you'll have facts to shut that down.
Breaking news, U.S. forces have withdrawn from Ain al-Assad Air Base in Iraq after the agreement that was put in place in 2024 that would require us to basically withdraw from that air base to withdraw from Iraq. Here you can see some military vehicles at the base. And as I said, the forces have withdrawn, which housed our forces in Western Iraq. And the Iraqi army has assumed full control, according to the Iraqi Defense Ministry. Ain al-Assad has hosted U.S. and coalition troops for years, and it has repeatedly been targeted by Iran-backed groups. It wasn't clear when this withdrawal started, but the plan from 2024 stipulated that hundreds of troops would leave by 2025 September, with the rest departing by the end of this year. Here's a shot of Navy SEALs guarding the base as Air Force.
So where does this leave us? With a movement. Messy, complicated, necessary. Some are genuine. Some are just mad it didn't work for them. Some are still figuring it out. But people are waking up. Slowly, painfully, but it's happening. And yeah, it's hard to extend grace when you warn them. It's hard to say welcome when they mocked you. But if we want to win, if we want something better, we need defectors. So meet them halfway. Not with sympathy, with truth. Not with coddling. With accountability. This isn't about making them feel better. It's about making sure this never happens again. Drop a comment. Do they deserve forgiveness? Or nah? Smash that like, share it, subscribe. This is Mind Mirror. See you in the next one.